Welcome to the Fantasy Forecast right here on the Fantasy Sports Advice Network. New intro! Got me so bricked up. Welcome. This is From Cloudy to Clutch, your 2025 bounce back forecast. Welcome to the Fantasy Forecast, you guys. He is Greinberg, I am Biggs, and this is your go-to crystal ball for all things fantasy football. Today, we are diving headfirst into the comeback trail with our 2025 bounce back candidates. Whether your roster was wrecked by injuries, fluke seasons, or last year's fantasy frauds, we've got our eyes on the names poised to rewrite their stories. Expect bold calls, heated debates. We don't really do that. And a few surprises as we forecast which stars are primed to silence the haters and swing leagues this season. Let's light up the radar. It's bounce back season.
Yeah, man. It's ready. I'm ready. Great show ahead of us. Thank all our viewers the last week and a half just tuning in and making this show go flying high here. I'm excited to see what the next little while brings. And Biggs, we got some bounce backs this year, this weekend. Why don't you start us off? I know you're talking about a tight end, maybe not so much a bounce back, maybe a breakout, if you will.
I wanted to do something real quick first.
Go ahead.
So we've been doing this for a little over a year, 14 months. We've been doing the fantasy forecast on Fantasy Sports Advice Network. And I'm thinking it might be a good year for some of our consistent viewers to graduate from the redraft that this show is about to Dynasty. And you may not know it, but over on Fantasy Sports Advice Network, we do have a Dynasty show called the Dynasty Pulse. That usually drops on Friday or Saturday. And it's Mike and me and our producer Schultze, and also Coach Retzlaff and Chev90 from over at Player Profiler. And they're all doing great work at FSAN as well. But it's basically a 5-person panel show. And then occasionally we'll have like a really, really good guest. We've had some pretty fire shows lately. But not only that, but I'm hearing that show also goes out on terrestrial radio, 101.5 Talkton, Tennessee in West Tennessee, which you can get if you go online. Just type in talk, the word talk, the letter N, and then 101.5, and you're going to get a whole lot of fantasy sports advice stuff that you can get on terrestrial radio. So like say you're in your car, you forgot your aux, whatever, go ahead and watch and listen to us there as well.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, totally.
But let me get back into my first bounce back. I had a lot of trouble with this one because I gotta say that my confidence level with this call is probably about 60%. One of the things about fantasy, and especially an analysis, is previous seasons are very important. You can't predict the future without looking at the history. And I'm talking about a tight end who over the last couple of years, he's finished in the top 15 or tight end 15 last year, tight end 13 the year before. This is in PPR, not a tight end premium, not like a fancy league or anything, just straight up PPR like you should be playing. And he had 90 targets under Arthur Smith, and he had 74 targets. He actually had a smaller target load last year, even though he played all 17 games. And I'm talking about Atlanta Falcons tight end Kyle Pitts. Now, here's the thing with Pitts. He already has a top 10 season under his belt. That was as a rookie. Finished as tight end 6. But that year, he got 110 targets. Well, I have a feeling that this year he's going to be more integrated into the offense. We've had some really bad coach speak the last couple of days. They don't sound like they're very confident in Kyle Pitts. But as we've learned through the draft season, a lot of times what you hear from coaches is just some subterfuge. It's a smoke screen. And I think we're in for, especially with Michael Penix being the starting quarterback in Atlanta, I think we're in for a more high-powered offense in Atlanta, and I think we're going to see more targets from Kyle Pitts. So if you're looking for a guy, buy the dip on Kyle Pitts. Don't either draft him in your last rounds in redraft, and then because especially at his ADP, you're going to feel very comfortable in dropping him to waivers and picking up another tight end and playing the matchups game. But if you want to like draft a Brock Bowers in the second or third round, or draft a Sam Laporta in the third or fourth round, and then grab Kyle Pitts later as kind of like a backup to your in your yin and yang system, I have a feeling Kyle Pitts is going to have a big bounce back year in 2025.
There you go. I mean, yeah, I mean, he started out of the gate strong. He was been muffled into different coaching staffs, different quarterbacks throwing him the ball. Maybe some stability here might be exactly what the doctor ordered for him. And yeah, you never know with this Penix rising these days. Kyle Pitts could be in for a big year. So yeah, like let's go. That pedigree, that elite prospect that he was a couple of years ago. Maybe this is time for him to really, develop into the tight end that people thought he was going to be right out of the gate. But yeah, we know how the tight end landscape happens, and sometimes it takes these guys some time to develop. And it's not every year that we find a Brock Bowers, is it, Biggs?
Thankfully, no.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, I'm going to talk about a bounce back player that well, I'm not going to lie. I mean, his 2024 season, it was tough. And, Chris Olave, he went from a promising rookie to a fantasy disappointment after an injury plagued year. Olave finished with only 32 catches for 400 yards and just one touchdown, a far cry from his impressive rookie campaign with the Saints. Offense in flux. Quarterback Derek Carr, done, retired. Now Olave has to find chemistry with a new starter, but the season offers a fresh opportunity and a major bounce back. The Saints have now Kellen Moore as their head coach, and under Kellen Moore, we know what he has done for success to wide receivers. He helped elevate receivers like A.J. Brown, Keenan Allen, and C.D. Lamb, and it shows his ability to maximize wide receiver talent in his system. 87 catches, 1,123 yards, and 5 touchdowns in 2023. It demonstrates his potential with over 1,100 yards. That's a solid target share for his rookie season, and he's got a potential for a target share even bigger with rookie quarterback Tyler Shuck potentially throwing him the ball. It's likely to see his target share increase because they're going to need to rely on somebody close. And, he's the most talented receiver in that, wide receiver room. Rashid Shaheed is going to come in, but they have different, talents, and they progress differently down the field. So despite the setbacks, I just think that Olave is in position here. The running back room is aging with Alvin Kamara. It's just spelling like Olave's talent's going to be here if he could stay healthy. And I think he's going to have a big 2025 Bigs.
I agree. And that's one of the things that we can count on is the talent of Olave. The other thing is that there's a quarterback question in New Orleans. Everybody is kind of like of the mindset that the Saints are trying to tank this year for Arch Manning in 2026. But that's not necessarily a great strategy since quarterbacks are tending to stay in college longer at this point. There's not a lot of 3-year guys that are coming out. And so it's more likely that he comes out in 2027. But the quarterback landscape in New Orleans looks like Tyler Shuck may be the favorite for the job, Spencer Rattler, who wasn't great, and Jake Haener, who was even worse. However, one thing that we know in fantasy football is the wide receiver one can be sustained by a terrible quarterback. It happens every year where people write off a wide receiver because they have a bad quarterback. But the wide receiver one, the number one target getter in that offense, is going to have a wide receiver one season. And Chris Olave is absolutely that candidate this year. Don't give up on Olave. He's going to be a great buy for you because his ADP is very suppressed at this point. People are kind of worried about his head because he suffered a pretty severe concussion last year. But as long as he's healthy and he plays those 17 games, he's going to wind up right back where he was.
Absolutely. Now, Biggs, you got a guy here that, 1 year he's on, 1 year he's off, 1 year he's on. It's kind of like a yo-yo syndrome. And I think I'm kind of understanding where you're coming from here. Before, a running back landed in the draft in that backfield was a little bit higher on your prospect, but I see where you're coming from, and I'm excited to hear what you have to say about your bounce back candidate number 2.
So my bounce back candidate number 2 is Travis Etienne of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Um, there was a lot of concern because of his performance last year. He had a top 5 finish the previous season, and then he was down in uh, running back 35 territory. So that's basically a flex play floor, but you don't really want to have you want to have elevated guys. You want to have guys that are their wide receiver 1 or 2, running back 1 or 2 in your flex spots. At worst, you want somebody who's in the 3 level, right? Well, here's the thing about Travis Etienne. It's the opposite of what you said. He didn't have a great year, or then fall and then have a better year. He started off hurt, then he had a pretty kind of so-so year, then he had a huge year, and then he kind of fell off last year. But here's the thing, he was hurt. He was dealing with injuries most of the season in 2024. The Jaguars' offensive line was pretty bad. There's also an element where if your offense isn't functioning the way that it should because of lack of depth, then everything is around you is going to get suppressed. We saw it from the Raiders offense last year. They were terrible because people were getting hurt all over the place. It was a bad scheme, bad coaching, bad talent, and it all just kind of came together to really destroy some fantasy seasons for everybody except for Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers. Jacksonville was pretty much the same. We went into last summer, we were high, very, very high on the Jacksonville Jaguars, and none of that happened. Trevor Lawrence fell flat. Travis Etienne fell flat. Evan Ingram fell flat. The only one who had a big year was Brian Thomas Jr., which we did not see coming. Now, here's the thing. Brian Thomas Jr. and now Travis Hunter, they're going to open up the field for the running backs, right? Travis Etienne is still the RB1 in that backfield. Yes, Bashal Tutin is there. Yes, Tank Bigsby had an okay year last year. He did play more games than Etienne. He didn't score as many fantasy points as Etienne. He had 18 more carries than Etienne, but he didn't score as many fantasy points. The thing that separates Travis Etienne from the rest of the pack in the Jaguars backfield is he knows the Jaguars system. Liam Cohen comes in, and we watched what Liam Cohen did with Rachaad White a couple years ago when both Travis Etienne and Rachaad White were right there in the top 5 running back mix. Travis Etienne leads that backfield in receptions, leads that backfield in targets. He has that explosiveness that we saw a couple years ago when he led the NFL in runs of 40 and of plus 40 and plus 50 yards. We know that that's the Travis Etienne that we're going to get at some point. The thing about Etienne is that he's in a contract year. Okay, this is his last year of his contract with Jacksonville, which means he's playing for his future bag, which means that he's not going to have a terrible, terrible year. There are a couple candidates throughout the NFL that are playing for contracts this year. Travis Etienne is one of them. He's going to take a hold of that backfield, and he's going to be the RB1 in that system. Tank Bigsby is fine, but he's not Travis Etienne. Travis Etienne has the draft capital. He's got the contract on the horizon, and he has the talent, and he's done it before. He's going to do it again. He's going to stay healthy. That Jaguars team is going to be better, and the beneficiary of that is going to be Travis Etienne.
Good stuff, man. That was a well thought out play. And I mean, hopefully this Bashal Tutin, who's got, he was a combine darling and potentially, he could play a role as well. But like you said, Etienne contract year,
I love Bashal Tutin.
Totally you do. And you were one of the people that identified him a lot earlier in the process as someone to keep your eye on. And I just think that this whole, running back room, it's a bit clouded, but yeah, they're going to give the opportunity probably right away to Etienne. And if he can stay healthy and do what he can do, we know what Liam Cohen does with running backs. You mentioned Rachaad White and the uptick in potential for pass catching down work here. And I think that Etienne is the best pass catching back on the Jaguars. So yeah, he could definitely explode in 2025. And you know what else is exploding in 2025? Well, let me tell you.
We are here. FantasySportsAdvice.com, offering the best fantasy sports social media platform. Why join endless Discord communities or the trolls of Reddit? Fantasy Sports Advice is a community designed to help you win with 24/7 support. Go to fantasysportsadvice.com and become a pro member for unlimited access. Again, go to fantasysportsadvice.com today.
Hey, Granberg, who's your
No.
second bounce back candidate?
Who is my second bounce back candidate? And it's another Jaguar, if you will. A Jaguar.
Where's Schlutzy?
I know. Where is he? Because this is the show for him. And I'm talking about Trevor Lawrence in 2024. Well, it was a harsh reality check for me, you, and probably a lot of our viewers last year because we had everybody on the Trevor Lawrence train. And I think because following up of that 2022 campaign, he was just really in a good situation. But, he only played 10 games last year. His performance took a notable dip, only had 11 touchdowns, marked a sharp contrast to his, QB7 finish in 2022. He threw 4,100 yards, 25 touchdowns that year. His completion percentage, it plummeted. But I'm looking this year for a remarkable difference. The Jags, their mastermind, head coach Liam Cohen, he's got the, same pedigree that helped Baker Mayfield throw for 4,500 yards, 41 touchdowns. He posted a staggering 71% completion rate in 2024. Now Cohen gets to work with Trevor Lawrence, the talent, the better mobility, more elite pedigree in Lawrence than Baker had, with the addition of explosive rookie Travis Hunter, and now, Brian Thomas Jr. from last year. The up-tempo pass-first offense is set to unlock. We're looking at potentially a top 12 quarterback this year. I'm looking for him to really bounce back in that system. Like Biggs mentioned in the earlier thing, he's got a really good supporting cast in the running back room and an upgrade at offensive line. So things should be a little bit better for Trevor Lawrence, and all signs are pointing for him to, get back to a status where, maybe not elite, but back into the QB1 range where, there's weeks where he's going to be able to be playable. And I think that's a huge bounce back for where he finished last year.
Hey, you remember that one time a couple minutes ago when I said that the Jaguars are going to be better this year? You remember that?
Yeah.
That was awesome.
It was on. And then we worked together just super well. So hopefully Schultze is going to listen in and, have some hope for his team because, last year was a tough one for the Jags. And
it was a tough one for us.
Yeah, we bought into them. And, had we hit on the Jags last year, we probably would have been, pretty spectacular. I mean, we were great.
Our logo is literally Jaguars colors.
Yeah, there we go.
Which is not, I mean, that wasn't intentional, but just an irony.
It is an irony. Well, this year, our iron's going to be hot and it's going to be flashing because that's what's going to happen. We're going to have a good year from Trevor Lawrence, a great year from, Travis Etienne. And you know what else is great? Guess what's released? It just released this weekend, and that is our rookie guide on the Fantasy Sports Advice Network. By the time this airs, Biggs, it'll be released, and it's going to be a great thing. It's a long time in the making. We've updated some guys. We had to get a couple new ones in there, and we're ready to rock. It's going to be released this weekend, or it's being released.
The Fantasy Sports Advice Network Rookie Guide. Don't enter your rookie draft without it.
There you go. Or your redraft, because you're going to want to get the intel on these wide receivers, these running backs, these quarterbacks, even the IDP players. We got it all, and we're going to give you outlooks, and not just dynasty, but redraft leagues as well. So for all of you IDP players, for all you redraft dynasty, check out that rookie guide, and it's live now on the network. So check it out on the Fantasy Sports Advice Network for $4.99. It is a steal of a deal, and it'll be awesome to see once it plays out. So Biggs, let's get into our spotlights, and let's start with yours.
All right. My Biggs bounce back number one is going to be New York Jets running back Breece Hall. It's been kind of a wild ride for Breece Hall. He had an injured start to his career, very similar to Travis Etienne, and finishes RB2 in his second year. That was the season that we all knew was coming. Last year took a big step back. There was some tumult there was some turmoil in the New York Jets organization last year. They had Aaron Rodgers. They moved on from Aaron Rodgers. He wasn't very effective coming back from his Achilles injury. And Breece Hall kind of took the brunt of it. They also brought in Braylon Allen, who's a very, very nice rookie last year, a guy that I was really, really high on before he got to that landing spot with Breece Hall in front of him. But the story of Breece Hall going from RB2 to RB16 can basically be summed up like this. He only had 14 fewer carries last year than he did the year before, and that led to about 120 fewer yards. That's terrible offensive line play. He went from 4.46 yards per carry to 4.19 yards per carry. His touchdowns stayed the same, 5 and 5. They did use Braylon Allen a little bit more at the goal line than I was comfortable with as a Breece Hall owner. But the big takeaway was 20 fewer receptions than he had the previous year. I think all of that corrects itself. I think the New York Jets offensive line improves. I think Justin Fields allows for a little bit more room for Breece Hall to operate, especially with dump off passes and things like that. I think his targets go back up into the 90 to 100 range, and he has a big bounce back year. I took Breece Hall at 101 in all the rookie drafts that I possibly could. Took him as a faller everywhere else. Totally capitalized on him as in redraft leagues in his second year because people were kind of out on him because of his rookie season, being hurt and only playing partially. I think this is the year that Breece comes back and plants his flag and says, "Look, I'm the Breece that you all know and love," and he has a big bounce back year. It's not going to be as big a jump as Travis Etienne. Travis Etienne is going from the mid-30s, probably into the teens. But Breece Hall going from RB16 into the top 10, I think is going to be huge for a lot of people.
I'm excited to see that because, I was a big Breece Hall guy as well. Unfortunate to see what, the downfall last year before was an excellent year for him, coming back from that injury and really excelling. And, it'll be interesting to see this happen, and it'll be good stuff.
And coincidentally, right now, I'm wearing a shirt that celebrates the University of California, Berkeley, my Golden Bears. And I'm a Cal fan, which means I'm a de facto Aaron Rodgers fan. But Aaron Rodgers, curse you, man. Curse you.
Yeah, curse you. Yeah, he was half the reason Breece Hall was not so great last year, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
Most of the reason.
All right. Well, let's get into Grindberg's spotlight. Now, Biggs and I were really high on this guy last year again, so this is maybe a repeat of our last year's show sheet or something. I don't know, but I'm talking about
let's run it back.
Bring it all back. Just regurgitating. No, I'm just joking, folks. But I'm talking about Dak Prescott, and I think he's back into that elite status this year. He had a great 2023. He finished second in MVP voting, led the NFL in passing touchdowns with 36, and threw for over 4,500 yards. He was a fantasy juggernaut, finishing as a top-tier QB1 and was widely considered as one of the best in the game. Now, 2024 hit, and that brought sharp decline. He struggled with injury. A torn hamstring forced him to miss significant time, limiting him to just 8 games and leading to a career low in fantasy points per game. Well, obviously, right? But 2025 outlook, there's 3 key factors for me that is, changing my mind. He's got great health, hopefully this year. He's back, ready to rock. He's got a great supporting talent and a new offensive structure. He's ready to participate in, OTA, signaling that recovery from the injury is better. And he's got a great, group of versatile wide receivers now. The addition of George Pickens adds a much needed deep threat, pairing him perfectly with CeeDee Lamb, who is one of the league's top slot receivers with a rising talent like, Jake Ferguson and, Jalen Tolbert as a gadget receiver. He's got everything he needs, all the weapons to elevate his game. And you know what? The Cowboys really took a step back here, in my opinion, in their running back room. Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders as their lead guys. I know they brought in Jaden Blue in the draft. not so optimistic here, and I just don't think they're going to be able to roll with these guys. I think they're going to be able to have to pass a lot more with Dak this year. And, when Dak passes, he passes a lot. 20 fantasy points per game in his last 3 full healthy seasons. 30 plus touchdowns in seasons that he's been healthy. He's fourth in deep targets in 2024, which is going to really bode well for a guy like George Pickens. I think if they can get chemistry early, this could be really, really big for Dak Prescott. And after a strong 2023 and a slow 2024, Dak Prescott is the comeback cowboy, and he's poised to surge in 2025, Biggs.
Now I think the Mafia is a little upset that you didn't add him to that running back room.
Yeah.
But let me paint a picture for you. Quarterback 10, quarterback 14, quarterback 2, quarterback 32, quarterback 8, quarterback 18, quarterback 3, quarterback 31. What did I just paint for you? Mountains. I just painted mountains. That has been Dak Prescott's career, is up 1 year, down the next, up 1 year, down the next. Quarterback 31 last year, that's a down year. Guess what that means for 2025? Up year.
There it is. You know what's up this year is our merch shop that Amber has worked so hard to get up and running, and you can get some really cool stuff there. Like the Dynasty Pulse is now on the merch shop. So those of you that have been following the Dynasty Pulse, our Dynasty show on the Fantasy Sports Advice Network, check that out. Check out our forecast stuff. Check out all the great swag from the forum to FFCK. We got a huge array of great stuff. So check it all out, Biggs. I love it, man. What's going on with you? How we doing?
We're doing great. I didn't know about. There's a lot of new developments that I didn't. I must have missed them. The rookie guide coming out and Dynasty Pulse being on the merch shop and everything. You guys should pay better attention than I do.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you're in the community, you're thriving and you know what's happening all the time, and get in on it, because that's where you can find all our awesome stuff and everything that's on the know in the Fantasy Sports Advice Network. And it's all found on the merch shop. So you'll be able to find it right now. You could find the rookie guide on the merch shop. You could find all our great swag there. And yeah, check it on out. It just has been updated, and now we are ready to rock. So yeah, check it all out. Biggs, do like you do always so graciously at the end of our shows.
Hey guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. We hope you win.
Hope you win. Have a good one, folks.